Good afternoon to you all, and thank you all for coming. There's very nearly 60 of you, I think, all told, so that's very, very encouraging. I ought to tell you why I'm dressed like this, although I'll go into a little bit more detail later on. I'm dressed as Sir Anthony Weldon. He's my favourite character in Swanscombe's history, dreadfully quarrelsome in real life, but in fact he was Lord of the Manor of Swanscombe, and he lived in his manor house, which was probably, but being Swanscombe we don't know for sure, just out the back, but there was another house further down Swanscombe Street called the Mansion House, and he might have lived there. Well, knowing Sir Anthony Weldon, he would have lived at both, just to be awkward, because that's the sort of bloke he was. Now, he was Lord of the Manor of Swanscombe, but more importantly than that, if we were here in the Civil War, Sir Anthony Weldon was the most powerful politician in the whole of Kent during the Civil War period. He was the leader of the parliamentarian government based at Maidstone. I don't know how often he went down there. I just think he wrote letters and told people what to do. I don't think democracy featured greatly in Sir Anthony's thinking. However, that's the sort of bloke he was, and that's who I am. But back to this afternoon, I'm going to tell you a very little bit about Swanscombe in general. I'm going to take you around the outside of the church. I'm going to talk to you about the Invicta Monument. And don't worry if any of you, like that lady there said she's new, don't worry about if you don't know what the Invicta Monument is. All will be revealed, and you'll be tested on it. Oh, no, you won't be tested. All will be revealed later on. And then I'll take you into the church, and then we really finish up with hopefully a bit of a bum fight afterwards over at the church hall. And the story is simply this. Can you all hear me, by the way? Are you all interested in this still? Yeah. You're not going into too much detail? No. Okay. The hinges are to do with the legend of the Blue Anchor, and some of you might know just down there is the Blue Anchor Public House, and it's all linked. The story briefly is this. One Sunday, the good people of Swanscombe came out of their church, and to their utter amazement, they saw, stuck behind a tombstone, a whacking great anchor attached to a chain that went up to the clouds, through the clouds, and presumably on the other end of it was a vessel. We don't know, they didn't say, nobody saw it. And they couldn't really get up there to find out. To their utter amazement, a man in a sailor's costume came shimmying down this chain and was trying to shift this anchor stuck behind the tombstone, presumably to free whatever the vessel was that no one could see beyond the clouds. The locals jumped on him, and even though he was on dry land, he appeared to drown. What then happened was the vessel, whatever it was, cut the chain, cleared off, and left the chain and the anchor. They were melted down and made into the hinges of the door here on the church. It's a very strange story. It's like something out of Star Trek. But there is a local version of the story, which... No, you'd think so, wouldn't you? You would think so. It's a very odd story. But I haven't made it up. There is a local version of the story which I much prefer. Everything that I've said is the same, except that the man didn't drown, but he was abandoned by his vessel, and he became the first landlord of the Blue Anchor pub. I much prefer that one because it's a happier story. Their right thumb was tied to their left big toe, and Vicky Verkey, so they looked like an oven-ready turkey. They were then thrown into the pond. If they floated, they were guilty. Because water doth reject evil. So they were then pulled out and hung. They didn't burn them. In Scotland they strangled them and then burned them. But here they hanged them. And it was a horrible experience. If, however, they went down into the water, there was a great big panic to get them out, because clearly they were then not guilty. But of course, after they'd been thrown in, sometime in February, it probably didn't do them a great deal of good, one way or another. So there we are. I think what is really most interesting about it, to my way of thinking, knowing Swanscombe in my lifetime, it's been overwhelmingly a place like Norfolk, terraced houses, working class families, ordinary existence. It's nice to have something, we've got it also in Norfolk Church, to have something that indicates what life was like before that. And these people were wealthy. Not mega wealthy, not like some of these stupid footballers, but they were wealthy enough to live in very comfortable surroundings. In fact, this is Sir Ralph Weldon. He wasn't as wealthy as Margaret here. Margaret was missing because she actually paid to have this wonderful tomb. He's got their sons and their daughters, and also here there's an infant infant daughter who died very shortly after birth. They are all actually there. The upkeep of the church is also interesting. Where we are now, in the nave, that was our responsibility. The chancel, that was the clergy's responsibility. The aisles, that was the Lord of the Manor's responsibility. In other words, Sir Anthony Weldon and those before him and those after him. Now, Sir Anthony Weldon didn't do very well because he had to pay for things himself. But in the pre-Reformation, everything was paid for because of the bone of St Hildeferth. Right, the bone of St Hildeferth, it was a finger of an 8th century French bishop. It was kept in a small cupboard with glass in front of it here. It would probably have been animal skin originally, and that was